Welcome to the Creative Cauldron, our show that mixes together media arts professionals, instructors, and students at Schoolcraft College to inspire you to take your work to the next level. I'm Jeremy Salo, and today I have with us Andre Robinson. He is a 3D animator, videographer, soon to be alumni of the Schoolcraft 3D and Video Computer Graphics Technology Associate's degree in our Media Arts department. Thank you for joining us today, Andre.
Thank you for having me.
So how did you start your journey in this field?
So it started about 4 years ago, where I found this program called Blender. So before, I used to just make music for my friends or for people who wanted to get into the industry of rapping. And it became a real big sensation to have 3D models inside of your rap videos. And during that situation, it allowed me to get into Blender, find it, start creating things inside of it. And overall, it just made me go down the field of 3D creation and 3D animation.
So what trends or advancements are you most excited about right now?
Trends right now when it comes to 3D animation, I really like realism, where it's more as if bringing VFX or animated characters into real environments, or creating real environments to bring people into it. It's very interesting, and it shows a lot of creation.
So what's your approach to creating realistic movement and emotion in your animations?
It's mostly what everybody else do when it comes to just finding reference videos. Let's say if you wanted to make a fish swim, you look at videos of how fish swims, you get a basic idea, you start off with a basic line, and then you draw around the line where you want the models to. Usually I start off with a ball. So you start off with a ball, you put it on the line, you show how the fish swims, you follow it with the ball, then you add onto your model from that ball to get a general idea how the motion would work.
Oh, okay. Interesting approach. So how do you see technologies like AI, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality shaping the future of 3D animation?
It's shaping to become a very powerful tool instead of a very big problem that other people think that it is. Right now, you could bring shapes, you can bring a 3D model into Blender as if you just make a square, and then you can have artificial intelligence edit it to it can be anything that you want it to be.
Right.
So in general, I feel like it's becoming a very powerful tool for people who want to get into the field, who doesn't necessarily have the skills to create models.
Right. Yeah, it's a good entry point to have some quick gratification of trying something, coming up with an idea, making something physically happen. But then you still need to take it a step further to actually come up with a good final result, right?
Yeah.
Typically, yeah. So how do you stay motivated? I mean, there's so many distractions, fun things to do nowadays. How do you stay motivated and continue improving your skills?
So I think the biggest motivation that I have is seeing other people create things. So like the movie Into the Spider-Verse, it was created by people just using Blender as the main program. And when I seen that, it inspired me to go if they can create a whole entire movie that's like a AAA movie and everybody loves it from Blender, I should just keep working on myself and see what I can create throughout this program.
Right. All right. So let's talk about some specific projects that you've worked on. I've seen a lot of your work. Andre has been in a few of my classes, and we've worked together on some stuff with some clients. So tell us about Detroit City of Chefs. You worked on that in a couple roles.
Yeah, so for my main role, it was me creating the 3D animation for the film, which I created with you to guide me. And I had, so basically what I did was I watched a couple of chef videos. I seen how they would how they would work inside the kitchen when it comes to flambés. So that's the real big inspiration behind the animation. And then I also worked behind the scenes with the audio, where I was the pepper shaker for the sound effects inside of the audio that you created.
Right. And that's a whole other thing for us to talk about. But so the first part, let's talk about that. Let's actually take a look at it. Now, you brought a clip from the 3D model rendering that you did.
Yeah, this is the basically the 5-second scene of the flambe scene from the film.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Man, that was, you can feel the heat with that flambe explosion coming right at us. That was cool. So yeah, that one, it's a little more backstory about that. So the College for Creative Studies, they did stop motion for those little puppets for a 2-minute long sequence. At the beginning of the film, the producer-director, Keith Famey, wanted to do some title sequences, but they didn't have enough time when I was talking to him about it. And I'm like, you know what? We could take those clay puppets, photograph them, make a 3D model out of them, and animate that for you. And I mean, he didn't think we'd be able to do it in that shorter window of time. But I'm like, listen, I got the guy, I know the guy, Andre Robinson. I think he could do it. And so we started working together using different software and programs. And, it was awesome that you were able to do that. And then that was included in the piece. But it all started with the clay motion, the stop motion, these clay figures. And they needed a song, original song. What happens with this piece is these culinary artists, these chefs and students, prospective chefs to be, made these really beautiful cakes with these clay decorations on it. And then they're like, okay, good job today. And then this is part of the film, they shut off the lights, and then these puppets come to life, and then they grab different instruments and utensils in the kitchen, and then they start playing the song. And they needed an original song for them to sing and dance to. So that's where me and Andre come in to play. And I met with Chris Mishiak. He is an instructor here, Chef Chris, and he's doing phenomenal things over in the culinary department. And him and Keith originally had this idea. They were talking about back from the Pink Floyd days, and they had a song where they took all these sound effects and put them together to make an intro, or actually a whole song. And so that was their idea. And then so he had some ideas of some instruments or some sounds in the kitchen, but then we had to get together. So me and Andre came, and he had a pepper shaker. Andre was shaking the pepper shaker. We had a knife that was on a chopping board, and then it was on the sharpening thing, and then all these different sounds. And so I had to figure out how we're going to put all these different sounds together. They're not musical instruments, and they had all kinds of weird frequencies that interfered with each other. They weren't musical, so they had to be EQ'd, and the timing had to be precise. And it was good to have someone that has a musical background like yourself, Andre, to go in there and play perfectly on time. It was Latin-inspired rhythms, and then so you listen to the scratch tracks, and then he pulled it off. And how many instruments did you do for that?
I'm pretty sure I think I did 3 or 4. 3 or 4.
And then we had Chef Mishiak did some instruments, and we had culinary folks. What was it, like 3 or 4 of culinary folks were doing different instruments. We had in the music department, someone was playing the piano from the parts. I was playing the classical guitar and the guitar lead. And then we had the trumpet player, Paul Michelson, and he's in the music department there as an instructor. So we had over 50 tracks of different instruments, and we had to try to put those together. And it was a big project, but it was really cool and rewarding. And we had the nice equipment in F300 in order to do that. And then to clean up the sounds to minimize the frequencies using equalization and pitch shifting so that things were, in a 440 equal temperament 12-tone piece. And I was happy with the way it turned out. And when we did that kind of work in a short period of time as well, that allowed us that opportunity that Andre had to work on that. And you're working on another thing right now for them, which we probably won't release right now, the information, but he's working on some other stuff right now for them. So tell us about a moment when you ever had like an accident creating something where it was either hilarious or horrifying when you were working on something, like a happy accident, would anything like that ever happen to you at this point?
Yeah, so well, for me, my main focus is basically creating anime with my animations. So I was trying to come up with an idea of how to create an explosion. Mm-hmm. And so it was basically inside of Blender, it has a geometry system. And with the geometry system, you can create simulations of different elements to create like an explosion, like my example. So so instead of creating an explosion, I end up creating like a weird wavelength as a floor, which I used as a design to give one of my characters powers instead of the explosion. Later on, I still got the explosion, but that experience showed me that sometimes you can mess up and it can create something kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, did you save that and use it in the future for a different project, or did you end up using that in the actual project?
It was pretty much just using it in the same exact project. I just gave the same person powers.
Cool. So how did your college experience shape your approach to problem solving as an animator? Because you've been in college now, here at Schoolcraft College for a couple years now, right?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half. And so how has that shaped your approach to problem solving?
Well, for me, in general, it was creating stuff to a high quality in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So most of the time we get 1 week to complete a project, and there's multiple projects throughout that 1 week. So it taught me that you don't have to be perfect, but you should try to be as good as possible in that amount of time to reach a deadline.
Yeah, definitely. Deadline is huge. Were there any other like non-animation related skills that you think you really benefited from taking these college-based courses, like communication, teamwork, stuff like that, or anything else?
Yeah, communication-wise was a real big help to me because coming here, it helped me meet people on the same field as me and to understand how they socialize. And because most of the time I worked by myself, and I felt like I don't really need anyone to help me because all I have to do is just use like Blender and just work on like that. Yeah. But it taught me that working with a team can help you achieve something faster, quicker, and with better quality.
Right. Definitely. Were there any courses that you initially didn't think were relevant? Like, oh man, I can't believe I need to take this course, but then you ended up finding it surprisingly useful in your work?
Yeah, it would definitely have to be photography for me. I thought, like, what do you mean I didn't take photography to be a 3D animator? All you have to do is just like press the picture. Press the button and take a picture. Right. But it's a lot more steps there. You gotta understand your f-stop. You gotta understand your ISO. Mm-hmm. You gotta understand like a lot of stuff into the camera. Most of the people, they just put it on auto and just be hoping for the best, but being able to actually control what it looks like and what the quality is going to come up with. Most people don't have like really powerful cameras and don't understand they need to shoot in RAW to have the best potential when it comes to the pictures. Mm-hmm. So going to that class and learning those elements has helped me bring photos into 3D to transform them or create 3D models from the images with a lot more detail.
Sure. So if you could stir together elements from different art styles and mediums, what would your ultimate creative concoction look like?
My biggest dream in general is to bring anime and realism together to form like a weird mixture to give people a better idea of how powerful art can be. You don't have to, just because something looks cartoony or doesn't look like it should be placed inside of the real world, doesn't mean that it can't belong there and create something like amazing from it.
So is there any advice that you'd like to give current animation students about getting the most out of their college education?
The biggest thing I'll probably say is always try your best. Don't give up. Programs are annoying. They're going to crash on you. They always do. Always save and always be ready for anything in the future.
For sure, yeah, that save one is a big one. So I think we're about wrapping up with time here. But I want to thank you, Andre, for coming to our show. And folks, add in the comments below, do you like our new set here? Do you like our studio? We have this beautiful cauldron graphic here. And this was illustrated by a Media Arts CGT student, Jason. So let's give it up for Jason. Good job, Jason, on that. That's a really cool graphic there. And then we have another student, Kareem, helped pick this font right here. You found that font, right, Kareem?
Yeah, I found that font.
And Aaron Sednick, he helped put this together here. These fonts here and the logos, and he's the one behind the switcher right now. So thank you, Aaron, for that. Let's switch to another camera. We have Dante right now on our slider camera, and this is our first show. We're trying to figure out the ins and outs of all this equipment and our wireless, robotic, half cyborg. That's Dante, our cyborg camera today. So thank you for your cyborgness. And thank you, the viewer, for using your time wisely for once and watching a creative show that's educational and really for helping be a part of our educational community. And follow us or whatever you kids do. Like, subscribe, share. We're on Facebook. If you want to tell your grandparents to follow us, we're on Facebook, Schoolcraft Media Arts. We have an Instagram page, which I hear is a little weird. Oh, and then also we have this beautiful desktop. Kareem, you want to tilt that camera down? We have this beautiful design on this tabletop. This table, by the way, was donated by the Michigan Production Alliance. We did a couple podcasts back in the day. And now we're doing our own thing. But this is our beautiful Schoolcraft College Tower logo, graphic. And Sika designed this, not the logo, but made this cookie from our episode of Light. And so thank you, Sika. She was a big help in making the credits that you're about to see as well. And Tala also helped with some of the behind the scenes stuff. So thank you, Schoolcraft Media Arts crew, for helping out, and thank you for joining. We are about to go to the credits. There's a credits thing there, and we will see you folks next time. Have a good one.